Those were major news highlights. Remember, you can hear me live on 3FM 92.7 and we're streaming live on Facebook and on 3news.com. Up next is a big one. Right now, the announcement of the proposed site for the National Cathedral has reignited a debate about the relevance of such an edifice and its cost implications for a state with several unfulfilled policies. The Judicial Service, which has its training school and residence for some of its judges, has petitioned the government to reconsider the decision to relocate them after being served quit orders. Wendy Lai was at the proposed site and reports.
Here at the Scholarship Secretariat, and this is one of the buildings that will be demolished to pave way for the construction of the National Cathedral. President Akufo-Addo on March 6, 2017 cut sword for the construction of the National Cathedral. While some Ghanaians have raised concerns about this, others are in favor of the construction of the National Cathedral.
The proposed site currently houses the Passport Office, the Judicial Training Institute, residence of some judges, and the Scholarship Secretariat. The cathedral, when completed, would add up to the number of high-profile and essential state edifices in the area, which already houses the State House, Parliament, the Accra International Conference Centre, the Sports Stadium. Quit notices served occupants hasn't gone down well with some residents who have petitioned the president to reconsider the location for the 5,000-seater cathedral. Others have reawakened the debate on national priority and the cost to the state in terms of the value of the land in the prime area.
Though I'm a Muslim, a program can send me there. So I am all out for it. But they shouldn't use it as a political gimmick or something, because it's there to serve, whether you being a Muslim, a Christian, an MPP, an NDC, a CPP, is there to serve everybody.
I would choose that, leave these people here, move the cathedral somewhere outside town small, maybe near, you can look for a place at Pram Pram area or Sawam area, put it there, right? It doesn't necessarily have to be in the city.
I'm for it, but where it's going to be situated, that's where I had a problem with. You know, it has to be on a different place so that people will get, that place will be developed and other places too will be developed through the new cathedral that is situated maybe around Dodua area or near Afenya or somewhere. That will also spring up new residential listings through that. But where they are going to do it, I'm not for it at that place, but I'm for it at another place.
But spokesperson for government in charge of infrastructure, Richard Asante, says government has found alternative bungalows for the judges in anticipation of 21 new houses that will come at no cost to government. He explained the only cost that government is bearing is that of the land, and that at no point is government putting taxpayers' money to the building of the cathedral.
Government is not doing anything untoward as far as this whole arrangement is concerned. What government is doing is that government is not committing a penny or a cedi towards the construction of this cathedral. What government is doing is that government is facilitating, government is providing leadership in terms of this whole enterprise. Government is giving a land as its equity. And a 30-member trustee that was put together on the 16th of March 2017 by His Excellency the President, comprising the Christian leadership in this country. They are going to go out there and solicit for funds and do fundraising and to put together this edifice.
An issue some citizens have varying views on.
The churches can raise that money, give it to government put it at a better place.
As to whether the cathedral is the most important investment in the country's current dispensation is an issue for posterity to judge. But many believe the National Cathedral could become like one of the many treasured national monuments across the world.
Right, we're fortunate to have Bishop Benny Wood. It's a spokesperson for the Concerned Clergy Association of Ghana. Bishop, thank you very much for coming. So you say that you support the idea, but you have some reservations.
Yes.
Let me hear what these reservations are.
Well, first of all, I don't think any pastor will oppose a project like a national cathedral. It's not too much about the national, but cathedral itself, because that is where we meet, we gather, we do all our things. But I believe that we have to ask ourselves, do we really need it?
Do we need it? You
Yes.
tell me. We do.
I don't think so.
You don't think we
At
need
this
it?
moment, the point is that it's going to be a monument. So it's not going to be like the daily church auditoriums we use. So it's going to be a
So
monument.
it's possible it could be used once a month?
Exactly.
Twice a month?
Yeah, so its relevance then becomes very important. That is why I'm sure there's a bit of the public outcry, because we need something that we can put to use
on a daily
basis that will be beneficial to the people.
To enrich the spread of the gospel.
And then also,
You don't think the National Cathedral will do that?
I don't think so.
Will serve that purpose?
Because you see, so far the proponents have not made any serious defense for this project, and
You're
that is
saying government has not
it's
thought
embarrassing.
through and
Seriously.
hasn't told us why we
it
need
is
it.
really, it is getting embarrassing, because all the reasons they give, both those who are responsible for putting it up and the government, when they give the reasons, people say, is that all? Because normally some monuments like this,
Reasons like we need an iconic cathedral where we can have national interdenominational events. Maybe we need where we can have big events like, let's say, Kofi Annan. If after we're doing Kofi Annan's funeral, we can take it to the National Cathedral.
Kofi Annan goes to church, so his church and whatever church he belongs have an auditorium they can easily host him. In actual fact, the biggest auditorium I think in Accra is Lighthouse, 25,000, and then Perez, that is 14,000, and this is 5,000. So very soon people will even forget that we have something like that in existence, and that's why we are. That's the point, because
So
we don't really need
you
it.
feel that in terms of size, it's not a big deal.
That's-
It won't be the biggest
we
iconic
need-
building.
Because you see, the National Cathedral in America is not owned by the
state.
It's owned by Episcopal Church. They adopted it. We have Holy Trinity, we have Holy Spirit. They can be used, and then also it is the second largest church building in America. So there should be something about it that makes it look outstanding. But at this moment, all the reasons and everything that is being said doesn't make it anything necessary for us.
But there being the argument that government has facilitated similar projects in the past. For example, the project leading to the construction of the national mosques. If there is a national mosque, why can't there be a national cathedral?
Yes, the point is that, see, Christians, our style of worship
Fellowship.
is not like the Muslims. The Muslims can decide to have one mosque and all Muslims will troop, apart from maybe the Ahmadiyas and other things. But for us Christians, we don't operate with that kind of system, you understand? And the point is that if we want to talk about the government facilitating national cathedral, in Ghana as of now, one of the reasons I heard for this is that we want to use it as a symbol of upholding God in our national
But
affairs.
that's not bad, is it?
My
Upholding
brother.
God
If you
in
enter
our
Ghana,
national affairs.
If you enter Ghana, you don't need any church building if you tell the Ghanaians are religious people. God is everywhere in Ghana.
But there are still crime in our society. There's
That's the point.
armed robberies
I mean,
in our society.
that-
Religion hasn't taken us anywhere, really.
So what you are saying, rather, you are supporting and buttressing the point I am making, that if human beings that goes into the auditorium have not been able to change the society, what will auditorium
So
do?
you think that instead of physically investing in a cathedral, an auditorium like that, government could channel the resources into other improvements?
Let me tell you what, if the government want to help the church to do, the government could have done. What the government can do is to invest in outreach programs for the church. They can have an endowment fund, because that is what will change the people. evangelism, outreach work into areas.
So we should focus on improving the lives of the people rather than
because
physical
the auditorium will just be at one place and it will not make any impact on anybody.
But this appears to be really in contrast to this position of yours from Concerned Clergy Association. Is actually way opposite from what other religious groups and other Christian organizations wish for. For them, this is the project for us. The Christian Council of Ghana, former General Secretary of the Christian Council of Ghana, Dr. Punifrim Pong, we spoke to him. He says this is a brilliant idea and it won't be the first time that government is facilitating such a project.
I mean, it's an opinion. I mean, he has an opinion and he thinks so, but I believe that this project at this time
is needless.
With its purpose, it's not necessary. We don't need a national cathedral. What we need is a kind of a fund, an investment that will help the church to be strong and to do outreach work. Our job, basically, as a church, is to win souls, change people, prepare them for eternity.
Right.
It's not to glorify ourselves in monuments and buildings. That's not our style.
So if it becomes monumental, then it's shifting into idols.
Especially with, look, the buildings, churches, you know, so our churches that are about to put up 30,000 auditoriums. I mean, skyscrapers are going to be erected very soon in Accra and Ghana. And that's what I'm telling you, that the National Cathedral will end up becoming something people will easily forget. The passion of Christians is not towards that. We don't desire it. It's not like we are out of a war or a flood-prone situation or famine or crisis, and then we need a movement that can hold us together, that can inspire us and all that. We don't need. We are not from that.
Bishop, this is needless. And
I wouldn't say it is needless. I think
the timing is wrong.
Maybe the timing is making it unnecessary.
And the focus is shifted because we should concentrate on.
They should give us the money to do outreach work.
Right. Bishop Benny Wood, thank you very much for joining us. Benny Wood is spokesperson for the Concerned Clergy Association. I'm Stephen Antier. If you're following us on Facebook, we're streaming live on Facebook, or you can also hear me on radio 3FM 92.7. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Now, President Akufo-Addo has urged Nigeria to give its assent to the Continental Free Trade Area Agreement. According to the President, Nigeria stands to gain with its dynamic population, sense of enterprise of her people, and size of her economy.
President Akufo-Addo, who was addressing the 58th Annual General Conference of the Nigerian Bar Association in Abuja, Nigeria, noted Africa's small countries will continue to struggle if they do not join forces. The accelerated economic integration of committed nations, he said, will breathe new life into the African Union and deliver the benefits of African integration to the doorsteps of the African people.
It is my fervent hope that Africa's largest economy, Nigeria, will very soon assent to this agreement. Nigeria, with her dynamic population, sense of enterprise of her people, and the size of her economy, is an automatic leader of any regional or continental market.
In 2000, intra-regional trade accounted for 10% of Africa's total trade and increased marginally to 11% in 2015. Trading amongst members of the European Union, for example, amounted to 70% in 2015.
A major deficit of our economic development has been the low level of intra-African trade that has characterized the performance of our economies up till now. I believe it is extremely important for the welfare of the 1.2 billion people of the continent that we all demonstrate strong political will to operationalize the African common market.
The success of the Continental Free Trade Area, according to the President, would promote the peace and security of the continent.
And dealing with foreigners who engage in the retail trade in Ghana has always been a pretty contentious issue. Several attempts have been made in the past to flush out foreigners in the retail trade, but to no avail. Per the Ghana Investment Promotion Council Law, GIPC Law 27, Section 1, a person who is not a citizen or enterprise which is not wholly owned by a citizen shall not invest or participate in the sale of goods or provision of services in a market, petty trading or hawking or selling of goods in a store or any place. A task force from the Trade Ministry recently, earlier this month, met with leadership of the Ghana Union of Traders and the Nigerian Union Traders Association to address the disagreements that exist between them over retail trade in the Swami Magazine area in Kumasi and other parts of the country. We have been joined in the studio tonight by Yahya Al-Hassan, who helps to promote trade between Ghana and Nigeria. Mr. Al-Hassan, thank you very much for coming. Your view is that we need to tread cautiously in our discussion of the trade allocations for Nigerians because you fear that this could create this could lead to retaliation for Ghanaian traders in Nigeria. Yeah. Is that so?
Yeah. Thank you, sir. In the first place, I would like to, call on the Director General of Immigration, Mr. Kwame Aswa, for him to release the many, Nigerians in the immigration custody, not far from here. Unconditionally, he should release them. It's a very reckless, approach. It will have a serious, consequences.
I'm afraid we'll have to stay on the trade discussion. Whether the Nigerians have been held and it's illegal or not, I am unable to get the side of the immigration director to comment on this, so we'll leave it there. But I am concerned about your suggestion that we should tread cautiously because this could lead to retaliation for Ghanaian traders in Nigeria. But the law is clear. Retail trade is for Ghanaian citizens, and the Trade Ministry is working to find a way to deal with the issue. Why should we be threatened by such retaliations?
You see, the level of the friendship, the historical relationship between Ghana and Nigeria, it's a long time.
This is not about friendship. This is about application of domestic laws. I'm sure Nigeria applies its laws robustly.
If you travel to Agege, Apapa, Kaduna, all part of their countless Ghanaians, many women living in Nigeria.
In the retail trade?
Yes, selling, on the street of Nigeria. No one is bothering them with a permit. There are countless Ghanaians living, working happily in Nigeria. It's a welcoming city. Yeah. We are enjoying. So if you want to apply such a law, if you want to apply, say, permit, we're trying to open a Pandora box, which has a dangerous repercussions. It's an act of, endangering, the many Ghanaians.
You're using quite volatile expressions, Pandora box, endangering, but you're not staying focused on the laws that exist, the ECOWAS trade relationship that exists. For example, a Ghanaian has to go to Nigeria and follows through with local laws that will permit him or her to sell or not to sell in the retail market. I do not recall the volume of Ghanaian traders in your retail market. I'm very familiar with Lagos and Abuja. I've had working relationships traveling to Nigeria also. So I'm not sure the extent to which Nigerians are taking over the retail market, unless you're telling me that the concept of taking over is a perception, but not a true reality. Nigerians are not taking over.
I will put it that way. And then we should look at the business between Ghana and Nigeria. It's not about petty trading. Look at the strength of Nigerian banks at this liquidation crisis. Look at what Kasaprako is doing in Nigeria, making millions of dollars, in Nigeria. Do you want to have a trade war with a 200 million populated country? Certainly no. I'm a businessman. I don't want to have a trade, entangle.
So what do you suggest should be?
So I'm calling on the president of the country.
The way forward?
Yes, I'm calling on the president of the country. It's action or inaction is a public policy. It should act now. Speak. It's not only as a president of Ghana, but the president of Africa. You should speak. Put order. Call the Ghana Immigration, Authority. Call the Custom Authority. To put order. We've come a long way. We passed the notorious era of 1969 and 1983. We don't want Koukurum. And I see this action as an invitation. of another Kokurum, which I mean, it's going to bring a
right.
lot of things.
Important,
pertinent issue that the president should rather concentrate.
We'll leave it here. You've made your point pretty clear. We're grateful for your time. Yahya Al-Hassan it helps to promote trade relations between Ghana and Nigeria. And let's move on from that. The Industrial and Commercial Workers Union, ICU, has directed dismissed workers of the defunct Beige Bank to seek redress at the National Labour Commission if they feel aggrieved. Its General Secretary Solomon Kote was reacting to the purported dismissal of some 700 workers of the defunct Beige Bank.
The ICU urged the aggrieved workers to study their contracts with Beige Bank before the takeover. If it is stated that the contract agreement allows them to work for 2 years, the managers of Consolidated Bank have breached the agreement.
If in that letter you have said that if I don't need you anymore, I give you 1 month notice, or I don't need you anymore, I give you this period of notice, and you also consented and signed, okay, and they come by that and they apply that on you, it will be difficult for you to go back to Labour Commission or to any other place to say that I have not been fairly treated. That is why condition of service to every employee must be taken seriously. You must know the conditions under which you are entering the job and the conditions under which you can bar out of the job.
The 700 workers who have been laid off are not part of those on a 60-day probation by the Consolidated Bank. The Bank of Ghana is reported to have proposed to the dismissed workers to go into car rental business and other opportunities. Though the ICU lauded the BOG for such an initiative, it's rather emphasized on training for other job opportunities.
In every redundancy exercise in ICU, we add a training bit. The training bit will also advise the workers at the time of the exit that, well, once upon a time you used to be a clerical officer, a banking officer, or what have you. But for this period that you now be chasing and looking for other jobs, this money is in your hands. Either do this investment or some mini trade to turn around to see your money actually grow than to spend and not generate. That will get you finish your money in no time.
The union has since asked government to roll out job creation opportunities for the retrenched staff.
And that's how we wrap up with News at 10. Thank you very much for making time. On behalf of the crew, good night. There's more news at 3news.com.